good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here. Oh, be careful. So, most of us, can you raise your hand if you're Filipino? Just wondering. So, yeah, everyone.
Is there anyone from other than Filipino hand? Anyone sitting other than Filipino hand?
No. No, okay. So, great. Because I'm a Filipino. I just need to double check if I can speak Filipino language in some instances. Okay, cool. So thank you so much again for coming. I'm very much aware that Filipinos are very hardworking. So I know how you balance your time and you work hard. And I'm very much appreciating your time for coming here. Okay, so my name, by the way, is Rina, and I'm a fellow Filipino. So I'm working as an education consultant here in Aussizz Group. So I'd like to welcome you, give you a warm welcome here in Aussizz Group. Okay, cool. So before we move on to the main topic, which is the IN program, first of all, I'd like to give you an overview of our company. Because most of the Filipinos will think that at Aussizz Group, here in Aussizz Group, we only provide education services. Okay? So here in Aussizz Group, we're a very reputable company, and when you check our Facebook, for instance, the reviews speak for themselves with regards to our reputation. And we're not only dealing with education, as I told you, but it's the division where I work at. Aside from the education, we're also offering services in migration and travel services. So you can see, you have that idea that when you consult for education in various topics, such as applying for a student visa from offshore, all right, from transferring school or transferring to a course, I'm pretty sure that most of you are looking for PR pathways. Am I right? Yes. So as much as possible, we'd like to align our course with that you're taking that is leading to PR, because we don't want to waste time and money and so on. Okay? So whenever we are giving consultation to students like you, we always make sure that we base it to your preference, to your needs. Okay? We're very transparent in that. Okay. And so here in Aussizz Group, we're also offering Professional Year program. So if you know, if you have friends, relatives that are doing IT or accounting, and even engineering, one way to increase their points when applying for PR is by doing Professional Year. Just to give you like a summary what's Professional Year all about. So you gain like professional experience, and aside from that, you gain 5 extra points, as I told you. That will add to your overall points when applying for peers. Something good about Professional Year. But aside from that, here in Aussizz Group, we are in tie-up with various institutions, such as Monash and Navitas. When you do your Professional Year, there's a higher chance you'll land a good job, and also they can sponsor you or maybe provide you a full-time work. Okay? So next, travel services. If you want to go to Philippines, we offer a lot of promotions, and it varies from time to time. Also, holiday packages, cheap ones. So if you have any concerns or inquiries about that, you can let me know, because I'm Filipino, so feel comfortable on that. And visa. So these are the type of visa that are very common that we are providing for clients. Partner visa, visitor visa, family, employer, and of course student visa. That for some visa, obviously, it's the migration team rather that is responsible for that. Okay. And aside from that, we have other services, of course, OSHC, money transfer, and other services, as you can see. Alright. Offices here in Australia, we have 3 offices. We have here, of course, our main office here in Melbourne, another one in Perth, and last one is in Sydney. So if you have relatives there who would like to change the state, I mean, because there are some students who would like to move to one state to another, we are handling such cases as well. So it's good to know that there are actually offices in Perth and Sydney that can accommodate them personally. Okay. So promotions. So we have promotions and it changes from time to time. It's good to know about the promotions that we offer so that you take advantage of that, especially if you know somebody. We actually provide general voucher for people who come here in our office, and it's worth $200. So when you refer somebody and their application is not successful, you can get $200 per head. And for this month, for example, there's a student who'd like to apply for student visa. That student can choose from one of the options. One is free Samsung Galaxy Tab, free student visa process, or scholarship up to $1,000. Aside from the scholarship that we provide for this month, we also have exclusive scholarship for some institutions we are currently in, we have a tie-up with. And PTE voucher, we have a PTE coaching here, and our coaches are Aussizz. We also provide your own laptops. We have free trial here in Aussizz group. You can have morning and evening session. So it's completely up to you. We offer flexibility on that. Okay, so So before we move on to our main topic, design program, please make sure to like our Facebook page. Why you need to like that? Because in order for you to get the up-to-date information with regards to visa, changes in SOL, whatever kind of concerns you might be having, okay? We always post relevant information as well as promotions, alright? So now let me introduce to you our manager. Her name is Saru, and she's going to be the one talking about the iron program. Okay.
Hello people, I would just like to welcome you again to Aussizz Group, and I'm pretty sure Reena has given you an overview about the various services that we offer here. And now we come to the main topic, which is iron program. Can I know how many of you are registered nurses from Philippines? Oh, you have more than 90% of chances to get your skill assessment and your PR as soon as possible, and not only for your PR but also to work as a registered nurse in Australia. Just to give you a little bit of idea, do you know an average registered nurse in Australia has a salary of roughly from $50,000 to $100,000 per annum, which is really a huge salary, and the kind of offers, the kind of work environment and everything which they have, and a kind of opportunities for nursing in Australia is really huge. So what exactly is iron program? Iron program, as the word IRON says, it's initial registration for overseas registered nurses in Australia. So basically it's for nurses who are registered from overseas. They have a valid registration from their home country. It's a bridging program basically for those nurses, so that they have to bridge up the gap. You may have an experience from offshore, but then that experience will be a little different in Australia. The way they do things in Australia will be a lot different. So this is basically a program which bridges that gap, and it's an extensive program which gives you a lot of information of how exactly the work is here in the hospitals. And this program is basically a combination. It's not only theory, but more about clinical placements, more about practical knowledge, more about how you actually do the things. So it is theory, but then it's more extensive. It's a program that is just for a duration of 3 months. So you have a lot together within that time period. So I think you should be fully aware of what exactly is the program about, and more than that, you should be aware do you actually fill in that criteria to do this program. Now, after this, we'll go into what are the exact entry requirements for this program. Now, as I told you, this program is for 3 months. Most of you would be here on student visas. So you have your classes to attend, and then you have your examinations. When exactly do you have time to do this program when it's so extensive with Monday to Friday classes, and then on top of that you have to do your studies as well? So you have other opportunities wherein you have your summer semester off. So the November semester, which is always optional for onshore students, so you can take that off, which is you'll have 3 to 4 months, and then you have the opportunity to do this program. And on top of that, not only for onshore students, but your friends or your relatives who want to come from offshore, who are registered nurses, you may know many of them who have this idea of getting registration from Australia, but they don't want to come here and do a bachelor's of or master's of nursing. They can actually come here to do this particular program on a particular visa subclass, which later on down the line our migration agent will be giving you more details about what exactly can we do. But then every one of you has an opportunity to do this program, but just you need to fulfill certain criteria which I'll be talking about, and then forward you can do this program. Now, what are the entry requirements exactly for this program? Now, the very first requirement is your qualification. You need to have a bachelor's of nursing or equivalent from your country. Now, for doing a bachelor's of nursing, you are eligible to get a registered nurse registration from Aftra. And also some of you might have not done a bachelor's but a diploma of nursing. For that, you are still eligible to do the program, but not as a registered nurse, but as an enrolled nurse. And both of these registrations, which is enrolled nurse and registered nurse, they have PR pathways and they have good job opportunities in Australia. Now, the second important requirement is English requirement. How many of you already have 7 each or equivalent in IELTS? You, definitely. See, that is one of the major requirement. But also there is a turnaround which is actually put in by Afra recently. It's not a single examination you require 7 each. It can be a combination of 2 exams within 6 months, within a span of 6 months. So it's like if you have 6.5 in writing in one exam and you have 7 in the other, within a span of 6 months, you can combine those 2 results and present it to Afra. But the minimum score has to be 6.5. So you actually cannot combine 5 and 7. It has to be a 6.5 and 7, and within a span of 6 months. And that scorecard is valid for 2 years. So that is actually a very good input which many students are not aware of, that you can combine 2 results. Many of times students say like, oh, I got 6.5, what to do? But try in your next exam. You may get 6.5 in the other module, but you may get 7 in the writing module which you were worried about earlier. So that will actually, which will really help you. Now, the third thing which you require is registration. You may have completed a bachelor's from back home, but then you do not have registration. You need to have that. You need to have registration with your registration body. So that is something which is a mandatory requirement, and that is something which is submitted, which is to be submitted from your registration body to the Afra directly. And the next thing is work experience. Now, I have had students who come in here and they say like, oh, I only have 1 year work experience. I won't be able to do this program. But just to let you know, you only require 3 months work experience. Only 3 months as a mandatory requirement. If you have more, obviously it's good for your application. But then the mandatory and the requirement is only 3 months. And it can be voluntary work experience as well. So a work experience as a staff nurse for only 3 months is the only requirement. The next thing is a CV or resume. Obviously it is one of the documentation which is required. A detailed CV explaining about your jobs and responsibilities, about your work experience, about your qualification. And on top of that, Afra referral letter. Now, what is this Afra referral letter? Now, in the process of applying IRL program, I'll go step by step. The first step is to apply with Afra for a referral letter. That is basically you apply to Afra for registration and they give you an approval in form of an Afra letter to do this program. So you can't start the program straight away. You first have to get a permission from Afra. And this referral letter, there's a processing time of roughly 1 to 3 months depending on the application and depending on the country of the application. So you have to keep sufficient time. You can't say I want to start the program tomorrow. It's not like that. You have to keep a sufficient time of 3 to 5 months for the whole process to continue, for the whole process to take place. So, and this Afra letter is only valid for 1 year. So after you get this letter, you have to complete your program within the span of 1 year. And most of the providers are always full with their capacity. Or most of the providers, they are so full with their capacity that you have to keep a gap of 2 months to get the next intake with them. So that's why I'm saying always keep a span of 3 to 5 months to say that you want to complete this program. So if any of you is targeting to do this program in November during the summer break, you have to start right now. You really don't have time to lose. You don't have time to lose. You have to start right now. And right now, if any of you is not having IELTS or PTE, you need to start preparing. It's high time, and you know, as soon as you get done with this hurdle, it's always good. It's always easy to start, always good to start as soon as possible. Yeah. So basically there's a flowchart which will explain you the entire process of getting your PR as a registered nurse. I think there's some problem in the slide, but anyways I'll just explain it like this. Now the first step is to apply to Aftra to get the Aftra letter, for which the documentation I've already explained, but always there's a long checklist of the documents which are required, which any of you who actually wants to do that, we can have a detailed consultation and I can give you more details about what exactly are the documents which are required. Now after you get the Aftra letter, and during that time, we'll also start your process with the school. So there are two applications which are going on at the same time. First is with the Aftra to get the Aftra letter, and second is to get your offer letter from the school. Now getting an offer letter from the school is not so easy like you apply today and you get it by tomorrow. You will be having an interview with the school wherein they'll be assessing your experience and your qualification. It's not a very big, you don't have to be scared of the interview, but it's just more about they want to know that you have an experience which is genuine. So they just want to assess what exactly have you done during your work experience. A very basic interview, but then you know this program is more about individual and not about a group, because every individual has a certain level. So in that interview, they also assess your level, and accordingly they'll package your course, package your program. They'll create a tailor-made program for you. You know, it's each individual who's doing it. So it's more about you and not about the entire group who's doing the program. So that is why you have an interview with your teacher who assesses your level, and then taking forward from there along with your documentation, they check your profile and they see if you fulfill the criteria for doing this program. So you have the offer letter in place even before getting the Aftra letter. And as soon as you have the Afra letter, you get into the program and you get started with it. Another important point, why to get that offer letter process in simultaneous to the Afra letter, because as I told you, the seats for this program, they get filled really fast. So you have to block your seat. You have to do that in starting, so that as soon as you get the Afra letter, you can do the program, either in that intake or the next intake. Now, after you get the Afra letter, you are going to do the iron program, which is for 3 months and an extensive program. And as soon as you complete the program, you get to get the full registration with Afra. And after you have full registration with Afra, you can get your skill assessment from ANMAC, and taking forward from there, you can apply for your PR or you can apply for your jobs. So that is how it will go from here. Now, that was the entire process of getting your registration and skill assessment in nursing, and it's both for an enrolled nurse as well as a registered nurse. That's I think pretty much about it, what I had to explain about the IRON program. If you have any questions about the program, you can ask any sort of questions you have. I think all are clear about the program. Anyways, I'll introduce Mr. Steve. He is from our partners ACFE, which is one of the colleges which is providing IRON program. He'll give you a little bit more idea about the program and how they are providing it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Arun.
First of all, thanks so much for coming here today. My name is Steve. I'm current General Manager in ACFE, Australian Centre for Further Education. I just would like to give you a brief idea of what is ACFE. ACFE actually opened since 2009, and we are only concentrate to IRON program at that time. And recently we opened that program as well for international students. But our main point and what our strongest program is still Iron programs. Alright. And ACV actually